Hey, badass business owners. One of the things you hear me talk about all the time is how business owners will be busting their butt and then they look in their checking account and there's just no money and they wonder where it goes. Well, today I want to talk to another group of individuals, and you are the folks that have been running your business. It could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. You never look at your numbers. You have no idea what a P&L is. You have no idea what one looks like. But you feel like you've been doing really well because you do have money in your bank account. Now, I know this sounds weird, but there are people out there that have done well and their bank account either holds steady at $20,000. It might go every single year. It might go from 20 to 30 to 40. And they feel like they must be doing good because the bank account is growing. But yet they've never looked at their numbers. Now, here's the thing. If you're one of those people that really base your success off of your bank account, and if your bank account is growing, first off, congratulations, you have built a great business because obviously it pays your bills and it allows you to have additional money left over at the end of the month and to live off of. And that's fantastic because that's ultimately what we all want to do. But here's the problem. When you're not looking at your numbers, I want you to ask yourself, how much profit have you left on the table? Because you see, when somebody's scrapping by and they're trying to figure out every dime and where it went and how they can grow and if they're priced right and, what's the right thing to sell and, what their expenses are, what I find is they actually become more in tune with what their numbers are. And then as they grow, they actually hold on to a lot more of their money because they don't give up that skill. They don't just stop doing that. They see it as part of the cornerstone of them being successful. And for those of you that are out there that are basing your success off of your bank account, you have no idea if you could have made twice as much money as you actually did because you're just spending money. And the thing is that because your business is probably growing so fast or so consistently, you just kind of outsell your stupidity or you outsell the leaks in your business that you might be completely inefficient. You might be just leaving, like I said, thousands of dollars on the table every single month, every single year. But once again, the bank account is growing, so you feel really confident in your skills. And I love it when a business owner comes to me in this situation because a lot of times what we do is we dive in and we get them all organized. In some cases, like I said, they haven't been doing their books. They have no idea what they've got going on. Or maybe they have a CPA or somebody who's helping them out, but they send them the reports and they never look at the reports, right? They never look at those profit and loss statements that they get. They just kind of pile up on the side or the emails get put into a folder and they never look at them. In which case, they never get a chance to look at the trends that they've got. They never look at the fact, are they truly making more money than the year before? They're never looking at the fact that they didn't adjust their payroll. And because they waited so long to adjust their payroll, they probably threw $20,000 away just because they weren't looking at that. It just felt better to them, if you will, if they just kept doing it off of gut. And these are folks who tend to run their business off of their gut. And when we dive into the numbers and we look at what's going on, they a lot of times they're shocked at how much money they've left on the table, or they're shocked by a certain aspect of their business that they have not been paying attention to. And they find out that that part of their business, it could be expenses, it could be operations, it could be some process they have, it could be some part of the way they schedule, it doesn't matter. But there's something that has been bleeding money all along and it's been masked by the fact that their bank account has grown. So they haven't realized that they were losing this money out of a portion of their business because once again, hey, I've got money in the bank. Hey, I've got money that's growing in the bank. Whatever the case may be, it kept happening. And there's times when I have worked with somebody that they tootled along for a long time and they were making money. And then all of a sudden, a couple things happened in the business and it changed and they started bleeding money, which got their attention. So now they're like, oh, I really need to look and see what's going on because I've been losing money. And it turns out they've been losing money for a while. They just didn't catch it right away because, once again, there was money in the bank. So sometimes when we have money in the bank, it actually can work against us, because if the only metric you look at is your bank account, you are missing the entire financial picture of your business. You don't know what money you're spending on your operations. You don't know what money you're spending on your cost of goods. You probably have an idea, right? Probably more so your cost of goods than your expenses, because I find that most business owners tend to watch their cost of goods a little bit more, because obviously they've got to quote and write things out based off of those cost of goods. But they really don't really understand the core of what's going on with the money going out of the business, or they're not looking at the opportunities that they've got for growing the business even more because of some of the broken pieces. They could be even more successful than what they are, but once again, everything's like hunky-dory to them, because when they look at the account looks good. And some of you out there listening right now totally understand what I'm talking about, because this is how you run your business. And there's a voice that's deep inside of you that keeps telling you, I need to change this. I need to get my arms around my business numbers. I need to know what my business numbers are. You know what? I need to open up my QuickBooks and I need to look at them, or I need to sit down with my CPA or my tax person and go over what my numbers are. I need to understand what's going on. I need to open those puppies up, and I need to look at year over year, and I need to look at, hey, how is that growth going? Or am I spending the right amount of money? Am I making sure that I make money off of every dime that I spend, specifically when it comes to, like, say, advertising. You might be spending $300, $400, $500 a month on advertising and never look twice if it's even making you any money, because you're growing, but you might be growing your business from other aspects and not from this advertising that you're spending thousands of dollars on every single year. And that does happen. I've had people, when I ask them, hey, you spent quite a bit on these Facebook ads or these Google ads, is that where you get your business from? And they're like, no, most of my business is word of mouth. And I'm like, okay, then why are you spending all this money? Oh, I thought I had to do that, or I was supposed to do that, or it made sense. Or, you know what? I completely forgot that I did that because I set that up 2 years ago. Is that still coming out every single month? Things like this are some of the stuff that I get to hear when I'm doing my coaching stuff. And it's just, people mean well. You know what? You guys are busy. You're running and gunning. You're probably working 5, 6, 7 days a week in some cases, working these long hours, and you're just not looking at these things. You're just not paying attention, but you're able to still spend time with your family. You can go on vacations. You can, buy the nice things that you want. You can have that really nice truck. And once again, the bank account just sits there and it continues to grow and look good. Could you run your business like that? Absolutely. You know what? Who am I to tell you to stop doing what you're doing when you're obviously doing well? But here's what's going to happen. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next year, and it may not be the year after that. But at some point, something is going to happen, and your business is going to run into a massive hiccup, and you're going to have the wheels fall off. Because I've watched people where their bank account dropped, let's just say they had $50,000, $60,000 in it, right? I've had one, I'll use this one, okay? I've had one that was 100 and I want to say it was like 120 or something like that. And every month it was dropping anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000. And all of a sudden, one day he looked at it and goes, oh, wow, why do I only have $70,000 in here? And it turns out that this has been a very slow, it was like, 9 months later before they even dawned on them that, hey, something might be wrong because my account is no longer growing. Matter of fact, it's not even stagnant. It's been dropping. And when you look at the way the numbers were going, that's exactly what happened. It stopped growing, kind of hung still for a while, and then started dropping. So something happened a year prior in the business that wasn't even caught, and it just started bleeding dry. And then when he dived in, he found not only what was causing the most recent thing, but he discovered all of this money that he had been just spending willy-nilly and never really paying attention to, and was losing all kinds of stuff because he never, once again, he was one of the guys that stacked his P&Ls. His CPA would send them to him. He'd take the envelope and shove them. He had a whole mess of them all stacked up. And he goes, oh, are these the things that I'm supposed to be? Because I always ask folks, okay, can we see your P&L? Can we go over it? And once again, it's like, I can't tell you how many times people will pull out some envelope and say, oh, these things? And I just laugh. But here's the thing. I don't want you to rest on your laurels. I don't want you to think that if your bank account is holding steady or it is growing, that you don't get to look at your numbers, that you shouldn't be looking at your numbers. You always should be looking at your numbers. I don't care how successful you are. There is not a Fortune 500 company. There's not a massive business that's out there today that's doing fantastic, making tons of money, that does not look at their P&L, that does not look at those business numbers, that do not crunch the numbers, that do not understand all the money that's going in and out of their business. And you need to be the exact same way. All right. Because otherwise, you're just very successful employee of this business that you're running. You're not really being a business owner, because a business owner looks at their business numbers. A business owner understands what's going on in the business and where money is going. So I want to challenge those of you out there that have a nice fat bank account and you're like, life is good. I must be doing something right. I challenge you to dive into it. Now, could it possibly be you're just running that good of a business? Absolutely. I am not going to take that away from somebody who is. But I will tell you, it is very rare to find that. Almost everybody that when we start diving in, they're bleeding money somewhere. It may not be a lot, but it may be several $1,000s. It could be $10,000 a year, $20,000 a year in some cases. And in some cases, it could be a heck of a lot more than that. So wherever you are, you want to make sure you learn those business numbers. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you not only grow your sales, but more importantly, grow those profits. So please make sure that you're looking at your business numbers, you understand your business numbers, and you're using them to help you run a better business. And with that, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.